Devastating effects of U.S. military campaign against Iran on civilian ammunition supply surfaced in early May 2026. And if you're gun owner relying on regular ammunition purchases, shelves at your local gun store are about to go empty as military production lines at maximum capacity have suspended civilian shipments to prioritize Pentagon orders.
Devastating effects of U.S. military campaign against Iran on civilian ammunition supply surfaced in early May 2026. And if you're a gun owner relying on regular ammunition purchases, shelves at your local gun store are about to go empty as military production lines at maximum capacity have suspended civilian shipments to prioritize Pentagon orders. Although President Trump declared America has virtually unlimited supply and strongest ammunition production level, classified Pentagon briefings and Center for Strategic and International Studies reports paint a different picture. 5-week intensive bombing campaign depleted more than half of U.S. pre-war inventory of key long-range munitions, including Tomahawk missiles, forcing manufacturers like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics to halt civilian ammunition production. On May 2, 2026, Washington warned European allies UK, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, plus Ukraine, that long-term delays expected in munitions for NASAMS and HIMARS systems. Same manufacturers produce civilian rifle and pistol ammunition, now being rationed or suspended. Subscribe, because this ammunition shortage affects every gun owner and represents biggest supply disruption since COVID panic buying, and understanding which calibers disappearing, why manufacturers prioritizing military, and what you can do before shelves empty determines whether you can still train and defend yourself. 5-week aerial bombing campaign against Iranian targets consumed enormous quantities of munitions. Navy destroyers, submarines launched hundreds of Tomahawks. Air Force dropped thousands of JDAMs. Fighters expended vast missiles. According to CSIS analysis, May 5, 2026, U.S. consumed over 50% of pre-war stockpiles of Tomahawks, SM-6 interceptors, JASSM-ER missiles, ATAC-AMS during campaign, forced Pentagon to divert munitions from Indo-Pacific to Middle East. Critical shortage became so severe that May 2nd, administration warned NATO allies of delivery delays. But nobody's talking about same defense contractors producing military munitions also operate civilian ammunition subsidiaries, including Federal, Remington, Winchester, CCI. With military production at maximum and Pentagon contracts taking priority, civilian manufacturing suspended or reduced starting early May 2026. Let me break down what Pentagon data reveals about munition depletion, which ammunition types affected for civilian market, manufacturing capacity crisis, what retailers experiencing, and what gun owners must do immediately. Number 1, what Pentagon data reveals about munition depletion. 5-week campaign consumption. CSIS report shows U.S. consumed over 800 Tomahawk cruise missiles, 50-60% of inventory, over 200 SM-6 interceptors, 40% of inventory, approximately 400 JASSM-ER missiles, over 50% of inventory, significant ATAC-AMS tactical missiles, thousands of JDAMs, total estimated value, $8,012 billion in 5 weeks. Production versus consumption rates. Tomahawk production, 100 eyes, 150 missiles per year peacetime. Iran campaign consumption, 800 plus missiles in 5 weeks. At current rates, replenishing inventory requires 5 to 8 years, similar gaps for other systems. Production deficit forcing Pentagon to divert all manufacturing to military replenishment. Indo-Pacific resource diversion. Pentagon allocated munitions for potential Taiwan contingency. Iran campaign forced diversion to Middle East, leaving Indo-Pacific with reduced inventories, created urgency to maximize production, leading to civilian ammunition rationing. European ally warnings. May 2nd, 2026, cables to UK, Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, Ukraine warned delays in NASAMS and HIMARS deliveries. These systems share components and facilities with civilian ammunition production. Number 2, which ammunition types affected for civilian market? Rifle ammunition, 5.56 223, Federal Winchester Remington. Produce military 5.56 NATO and civilian 223 on same lines. Same primers, powder, brass. Military contracts prioritized. Civilian production suspended at multiple facilities. Retailers report Federal and Winchester notified them of shipment suspensions starting May 2026. Expect empty shelves by late May. Rifle ammunition, 7.62 and 308. Military 7.62. NATO for machine guns. Sniper rifles taking priority over civilian 308 Winchester. Lake City Army Ammunition Plant, largest producer. Exclusively producing military contracts, suspending civilian sales. Pistol ammunition, 9mm, most popular handgun caliber. Military uses for sidearms, submachine guns, allied training. Civilian 9mm from Federal Winchester. Remington facing severe restrictions. CCI and Speer also reducing civilian shipments. 50. BMG ammunition, used by military for M2 machine guns and Barrett rifles. All production prioritized for military. Civilian availability essentially zero starting May. Primers and powder, even reloaders affected. CCI primers and Hodgdon, IMR, Alliant powders, all from companies with military contracts. Primer production shifted to military cartridge assembly. Powder prioritized for military specs. Civilian reloading components disappearing faster than loaded ammunition. What remains available temporarily? Calibers without military applications, shotgun shells, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, rimfire, 22 LR, limited military use, niche calibers like .4570, .300 Win Mag, but even these face component shortages affecting production. Number 3, manufacturing capacity crisis. Factory capacity limits. Ammunition manufacturing requires specialized equipment, case forming, primer insertion, powder charging, bullet seating, quality control. Production lines operate 24/7 under peacetime. Cannot simply add shifts beyond capacity. Building new lines requires 24 months and hundreds of millions in capital. Component supply chains. Production depends on brass, copper zinc, lead for bullets, copper jacketing, specialized primers, lead stiffnate, barium nitrate, nitrocellulose powder, packaging. Each component has limited capacity. Brass mills, primer manufacturers, powder plants all operating at maximum. Cannot increase without new facilities. Military contracts take legal priority. Federal acquisition regulations and defense priorities and allocation system give Pentagon legal authority to prioritize defense contracts over commercial sales. When Pentagon issues rated orders under DPS, manufacturers must fulfill military first, delaying or canceling civilian orders. This is federal law under Defense Production Act, labor and export constraints. Ammunition manufacturing requires skilled workers. Industry facing labor shortage. Cannot simply hire more. Training takes months to years. U.S. typically imports from Israel, South Korea, Europe to supplement domestic production. Middle East tensions affecting Israeli exports. European manufacturers prioritizing NATO stockpile replenishment. South Korean manufacturers shifting to military. Import channels reducing civilian supply. Number 4, what retailers and gun owners experiencing now. Major retailers reporting shortages. Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, Sportsman's Warehouse, reporting reduced shipments starting early May. Federal and Winchester notified retailers of 40 to 70% allocation reductions on military caliber ammunition. Some SKUs completely discontinued for civilian market. Online retailers showing out of stock. AmmoSeek, SG Ammo, Bull Camo, showing increasing out of stock for 5.56, 7.62, 9mm from major manufacturers. Prices on remaining inventory up 20 to 40% in first 2 weeks of May. Expect prices to double or triple as scarcity intensifies. Local stores rationing sales, independent gun stores implementing limits, 1 box per caliber per customer per day, limiting bulk purchases, requiring membership. Store owners report panic buying creating artificial shortages even in calibers not yet affected. Reloaders unable to find components, primers completely unavailable. CCI, Federal Winchester, Remington primer production allocated to military. Powder inventories depleting. Bullets available, but without primers and powder, reloaders cannot produce ammunition. Gun owners stockpiling. Reports of gun owners purchasing maximum. Allowed quantities, storing ammunition, preparing for extended shortage. This accelerating depletion of remaining retail inventory, creating self-fulfilling prophecy where even non-affected calibers becoming scarce. Number 5, what gun owners should do immediately. Purchase critical defensive ammunition now. If you carry concealed or keep firearm for home defense, purchase at least 500 rounds of defensive caliber immediately. Don't wait for sales or better prices. Current inventory may be last available for months. Focus on 9mm for pistols, 5.56, .223 for rifles, 12 gauge for shotguns. Diversify calibers. If you only own firearms in military calibers, 9mm, 5.56, 7.62, consider purchasing firearms in less affected calibers, 45, ACP, 40 S&W, 10mm, 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, or others without major military contracts. Ensures shootable firearms even if primary caliber is unavailable. Don't panic buy excessively. Purchase reasonable quantities for defensive use and training, but don't buy more than you can realistically use. Excessive hoarding accelerates shortages and inflates prices. Reasonable supply. 500, 1,000 rounds, defensive. 1,000, 2,000 rounds training if you shoot regularly. Consider reloading equipment. If you don't reload, now may be time to invest. Primers and powder currently scarce, but situation may improve faster than loaded ammunition. Reloading presses, dies, scales still available. Stockpile brass cases, reusable many times. And bullets, less affected than primers, powder. Monitor stores and avoid price gouging. Check availability daily. Sign up for in-stock notifications from online retailers. Follow local stores on social media for shipment announcements. Inventory depleting within hours of delivery. Pay fair market rates, 20-40% above pre-shortage acceptable, but refuse extreme markups, 300-500%. Report egregious price gouging to state attorneys general. Bottom line, U.S. military campaign against Iran in May 2026 created civilian ammunition shortage. Pentagon data. 5-week bombing campaign consumed over 50% of key munitions inventory, including 800-plus Tomahawk missiles, 200-plus SM-6 interceptors, 400-plus JASSM-ER missiles. Production rates far below consumption. Replenishing stocks requires years at current capacity. May 2nd, 2026. Washington warned European allies and Ukraine of long-term delivery delays for NASAMS and HIMARS systems. Same manufacturers produce civilian ammunition now being rationed. Affected ammunition, 5.56, 22-23, 7.62, 308, 90 millimeters, 150 BMGs, all facing severe shortages as military contracts prioritized. Primers and powder for reloaders also unavailable. Shotgun shells and rimfire, .22 LR may remain available longer, but facing component shortages. Manufacturing crisis. Production lines at maximum capacity. Cannot simply increase output. Component supply chains constrained. Military contracts legally prioritized under Defense Production Act. Labor shortages limiting expansion. Retailers reporting 40-70% allocation reductions from major manufacturers. Online retailers showing increasing out-of-stock listings, prices up 20-40% and rising. Local stores implementing purchase limits. Reloading components completely unavailable. Gun owners purchase critical defensive ammunition now, 500 rounds minimum. Diversify calibers to non-military cartridges. Don't panic buy excessively. Consider reloading equipment. Monitor retailers daily. Avoid price gouging. Subscribe because ammunition shortage developing rapidly, and I'm tracking manufacturer announcements, retailer inventory, and market conditions affecting your ability to purchase ammunition. Military campaign just killed civilian ammo supply. Get what you need before shelves go empty. The next video reveals the 5 ammunition calibers still available and where to find them right now.